Hey guys, it's another video with Jamar,
And Al,
and we are here to do a video on dating in our 20s versus 30s. Also, we're going to touch on our previous relationships, also how we know each other, because some people did want to know how did we know each other. So we're going to tell you that. Some very nosy people, I guess. I don't know, but yeah. So basically, how I feel about dating in our 20s versus 30s is that it's totally different. Well, not totally, but there's definitely a difference that I felt. Basically, when I was 20, I was in college. I went to FAMU, go Rattlers, and it was part of the reason why it was a little easier was because I was at a HBCU, and it was just easier to meet people. What do you think?
Well, when we came up in college, that's when the whole gay site thing.
The Black Gay Chat
Yeah.
was very popular also.
Adam for Adam.
Adam for Adam.
I think it was just those two.
Yeah, at that time.
Well, that I know of.
Yeah, we're showing our age, but yep, those two were very popular. BGC, Black Gay Chat, when it was brown versus now it being turquoise. But
Somebody
yeah.
told me that's still BGC.
Yeah,
is still
BGC
a
is still a
thing.
thing. Black Gay Chat is still a thing. So is Adam for Adam, very much so a thing. Before Jack'd and Grindr, that's what people, that's how people met. But yeah, I met a few people on various BGC. How do we meet?
Adam for Adam.
Yeah, I think that's how we met actually. But we're gonna talk about that later. But yeah, definitely it's different. It's definitely different dating now versus back then. Or
So
even trying to get a
what's the
relationship.
biggest difference that you?
Well, I mean, part of my issue as far as dating is, I still look like I'm in my 20s, so I tend to attract, guys in my 20s, in their 20s, and I can't really expect someone who's 21, 22, 23 to have the same expectancies of me now being in my 30s and trying to get them where they need to go so we can potentially be together and grow from there. But that's honestly one of the bigger things for me.
I guess that's true, but I don't put as much. What's the word? I don't put as much weight into relationships as I did when I was 20 years old. Like, if it's gonna work, it's gonna work. I don't put much pressure to it like I used to, because I'm dating someone that's 10 years younger than me right now. I was gonna say the age. But
Baby cradle. Just kidding now.
Yeah.
Hi, Mark. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I haven't been in a relationship in maybe a good 4 or 5 years. My last relationship was actually in Texas. And I dated both the guys that I dated were well over 5 years younger than me. They didn't. I don't really want to go into detail, but the relationships were good. But a lot of the reason why it didn't work is because, again, we were just on totally different levels in life, and trying to figure out who they are versus me pretty much knowing who I am and where I want to be, and it just didn't really work out in those sense. And I'm still very good friends with practically all my exes, but yeah, it just one of those things.
I think that's at any age, though. You want to try to find somebody that's along the same wavelength, and you want to try to reach the same goals that you want to reach as far as grown-up goals, I guess you would call it. Because if you're 21, you're not looking to buy a house or a car usually most of the time.
I mean, some are out there, yes.
Some.
And I'm not to discredit anyone in their early 20s, because there are definitely a lot of people in their early 20s who are doing very well for themselves. It just really depends also your state of mind and your upbringing, and where you see yourself in life as well. So I think that's also has a lot to do with it. So
yeah, I was gonna say something else. One of the biggest difference that I noticed it I know what I want now in my 30s versus what I thought I wanted in my 20s.
Yeah.
In a companion or a partner or whatever you want to call it. You definitely know what you want more, and you don't put up with a lot of bullshit that you used to put up with in your 20s. And I'm sure that'll change when I hit my 40s. I'm sure.
20 years from now.
Yeah. I'm like 30. What? Yeah.
But yeah, to piggyback off what you said, like I definitely feel like it's a little bit harder to really find someone in your 30s because you know exactly what you want, you know exactly what you don't want, and a lot of times, you know, especially we're still on these apps,
You don't
a
wanna
lot
waste
of the
your time.
guys, you know, lately aren't really trying to settle down on apps. They're just there for the hookup, and nothing against the hookup culture. I mean, it's for some people, for some of it, it's not. But you know, I think it's just better nowadays to organically meet people. If you can meet somebody off of, you know, not off of, but in a club or walking around or in the gym or just whatever the case may be, in a store, at a gas station, then I feel like sometimes that might be the better connection to make because you've already broken the stereotype of being, you know, meeting somebody off the app. And for all I know, the next person I may date actually may end up being on the app. I don't know, but I'm just saying it would be nice to, you know, maybe go down a different route as far as meeting somebody to potentially date, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But
Social media wasn't as prominent as it was in our 20s.
exactly, we didn't have Snapchat and Instagram and all that kind of stuff.
You were forced to communicate with the person face to face.
Exactly. So,
Or on the phone.
but times have changed and people have changed, and I'm sure as evolution and time goes forward, we may even actually have more obstacles as far as dating.
Yeah.
So
Definitely. Oh, you know what I just realized? For half of my 20s, I was in a relationship. Like for most of my 20s, I was, well, not most, but half. Yeah, I was in a relationship. So I guess I'm speaking more so of my early 20s in dating versus versus now. Yeah, because I think I was 25, 26, and that relationship lasted about 5 or 6 years. So
let me ask you this. Do you believe that everyone has to go through this whole, as we call it, whole phase? Like, do you believe like, okay, I'm out of I just turned 18, I need to go through my whole phase first, then potentially I can be in a relationship? Or do you feel like you could ultimately be 18, doing a long-lasting relationship for years and years and not have to be in, you know, go through our whole phase, as we call it?
I don't necessarily think you have to go through a whole phase. Not everybody goes through a whole phase,
Stop phase.
quote unquote. But it's kind of hard because if you don't get that out of your system, then and you get in a relationship, a lot of people start wondering, oh, what am I missing out on? I've been with this person for 10 years.
That's when the
mind
adventures
starts
in a
wondering.
relationship and maybe threesomes and
Yeah.
whatever else may, you know, end up floating your boat.
But I don't think it's a necessity to have to go through a whole phase. I mean, majority of the time, I think it just happens. After my first relationship, that's when mine started. Cause I was like, oh, I mean, I might as well experiment now.
So you did.
Maybe, maybe not.
Who's to say?
Yeah, but I think it kind of just happens because I didn't start having any kind of experimentation until I went to college. I was 19. That's when, it all started.
Gotcha.
Because growing up, I wasn't on BGC or any of that stuff. The chat rooms or
Gotcha.
any of that stuff.
So, what was your first relationship?
What do you mean? What it was? You were there.
I was.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
kinda.
so yes, we dated when we were in college.
My first boyfriend.
Yes, so I was his first boyfriend.
He ruined it for everybody.
Don't.
Just
no.
kidding.
But we had a very interesting relationship. Broken hearts, broken windows,
Broken fingers.
broken fingers.
Oh,
So
God.
it's very interesting that now, so many years later, that we're practically best friends, and I'm glad that to have been in his life this long, and for him to have been in my life this long. And it kind of shows that even though regardless of how tumultuous a relationship could have been, you just never know where
Where it can go.
where it can go to, because he's a big part of my life here in Florida, and I'm glad that we actually ended up reconnecting once I did move back to Florida. So kudos to that.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much how we know each other. I think it's been well over 10 years plus,
Yeah. Oh,
10
yeah.
plus years that we've known
At
each
least
other.
12.
Yeah, that
Because
we've
it
known
was
each
what,
other.
2004 or 5?
Yes, my first year in college is when we actually met and dated, practically on and off for almost 4 years. So yeah, that was quite an interesting time.
Oh,
Shout out to a lot of my other exes that I dated in Tallahassee as well. Whoever you are.
You and all your little nosy friends.
But yeah, that's pretty much the story of how how we know each other, and so that hopefully that answers your questions. So is there anything else you want to talk about before we head on out?
Not really.
No?
I mean, drop any questions you may have
Yes.
in the comment section.
We're gonna see what route this channel is gonna go. I'm hoping that it really continue to drop more videos. We may be doing different types of segments in the near future, so definitely like and subscribe, and hopefully we will be hearing from you soon. All right, bye.